Okay, Assalamu alaikum students. I welcome you all to SM Public Academy Campus 5, and as you all know that today we will be having our English literature class. So I want you all to open up your novels to page number 813, and we will be doing The Merchant of Venice. Inshallah, we'll be completing the chapter today, okay? Okay, so let's open up The Merchant of Venice, okay? And what do you guys remember from this story? Let's have a quick review. Let's have a quick review of the story till where we have read it. We were actually reading this chapter the last time, and we just what did we see that we read? Portia decided that Shylock can have the pound of flesh as long as he doesn't spill a drop of blood. Children, one thing I want to tell you all that you all have written it wrong is spilt. Spilt is spilt. Spilt is spilt. Okay. SPILT is split. Remember it. SPLIT is split. These are two different words. Split is to cut a thing into parts. Split it, and spill is to drain something. Okay, so Portia tells Shylock that you cannot have a pound of flesh because you cannot spill a drop of blood. Okay, and definitely if that was humanly impossible to cut a pound of flesh without spilling a drop of blood. Finally, Shylock, now completely broken, accepts the situation. The trial ends. Okay, so finally we read that the trial had ended and the trial was over. My voice is not clear. Okay, can you guys hear me now? Is it clear now? Abdul Rahman and Rumesa, can you hear me? Is it clear? Please let me know first, confirm it. Okay, so fine, it's clear now. Let me continue. Okay, I'll try to be a little louder. Okay, so the trial ends, and finally, Shylock is badly defeated. And what happens that he actually says that I'm leaving for my home, and he goes back and he says, "Okay, send me the agreement." Because remember what has happened to him? He has not only lost the case, but also he has lost all his money because now half of his money will go to the state and half of it will go to his daughter. Because why? Because it was supposed to go to Antonio, but Antonio said, "Okay, I'll not take my share, but I'll give it to your daughter, whom you have disinherited." Because she married a Christian, so uh, Shylock had disinherited his daughter, and now Antonio gave his part to her. Okay, so finally, now let's begin on page number 13. Okay, so I'm reading. I want you people to read with me. Okay. But probably if you're having a net issue, that's why my voice is not clear to you, Abdul Rahman, because I believe it's clear with the other students. Try to reconnect. Maybe you can get my voice. Okay, so let's start reading. Portia's trick. During the trial, everyone had been very surprised to see how young and wise the lawyer was. But no one had suspected that the lawyer was really Portia. Even Bassanio had not guessed. Portia had changed her appearance and voice so clearly, so cleverly, that her own husband could not recognize it. So basically, now you see, now this is what is happening. Now actually the climax is over, and they are finally moving on to the next thing. That is, now everyone is very happy. They are very rejoiced with the feeling that now Antonio is finally saved. And actually, during this whole event, nobody was able to actually figure out that the lawyer was basically Portia. Why? Because she has dressed herself very nicely and very wisely. And not only that, she changed her appearance. She definitely took the clothes from Dr. Bellario and put on a gown and everything to look like a lawyer. But also, she changed her voice, and she did it so truthfully, she did it so smartly, so cleverly that her own husband, Bassanio, was not even able to guess it that maybe this lady or this man who's the lawyer is my wife. Okay, and she was actually very wonderful at disguising herself. Okay, Bassanio and Antonio wanted to show the young lawyer that they were very grateful for his help. Please accept the 3,000 ducats owed to Shiloh, Antonio said. So, what is now what Antonio and Bassanio definitely to show their thankfulness or to show their gratefulness for the help and for the support that the lawyer had done. Antonio said, okay, you can have these 3,000 ducats that I owed to Shylock. Because now Shylock did not take the money, so he said, okay, you can take it, right? But oh, do you think Portia will accept it? I don't think so. Let's see what she answers. But Portia would not accept the money. Bassanio was very anxious to give the lawyer something, so Portia thought she would trick her husband for a joke. If you insist, give me your gloves, she told Bassanio. Bassanio took off his gloves, showing the ring on his hand. As a sign of your thankfulness, give me that ring. Now, see, now she's tricking her husband, and how but make sure she's only tricking her husband as a joke. It is nothing serious here, it is nothing that she is now actually, this story is taking another turn. It's nothing like that. It is just for a joke that she's just trying to play on her husband, okay? So she tells him, okay, fine. You want to, show your thankfulness, your gratitude, you want to make be thankful to me, then okay, fine, give me a glove. And when he took off the gloves, what actually in those days, the culture of England is that people used to wear hats and gloves and boots. Okay, this was the common part of their dressing. For us, it might sound a little strange that why was he wearing the gloves, but it is a part of their culture. They always wear it. So when he took off the gloves, what showed? The ring showed, and this is definitely the same ring that Portia gave to Bassanio when they got married. And remember, she told him that never lose it, otherwise our love would end. So she's actually trying to see how much love Bassanio, how much Bassanio loves her, that whether he would give the ring away or not. So she's just tricking him. Okay, so she says, okay, as a sign of your thankfulness, give me that ring. Now let's see what happens. Will he give the ring? On your finger. Bassanio immediately drew his hand away. This ring was the one Portia had given him when she promised to marry him. He had promised never to give it away. He pretended that the ring had no value and was too small to give as a present, but Portia asked for it again. Bassanio told her that it was his wife's ring, and she had made him promise never to give it away. Now, see, that is a common practice in humans that if you don't want to give something to somebody, then we tells that person, oh, this is so small, this is so useless, this is so less valuable. What will you do with this? I can give you something else instead of it. These are all the excuses actually that we make. And similarly, Basani was also giving excuses. He was saying that no, this is such a small thing. I can give you anything else, but don't take this. But then when he sees that no, actually the lawyer, who's actually Portia in disguise, and he is just like insisting that no, I just want the ring. Then he tells him very truly and very honestly that this is my wife's ring actually, and definitely this is a present from my wife. How can I give it to you? And definitely my wife has made me promise never to give it away. So he is being very honest and very true and very faithful to his wife also, that he is speaking the truth here. Okay, this is the quality of his character, that he is a truthful person. That is a common excuse, replied Portia. That is what men say when they do not want to give a present. Your wife will not be angry with you for long. You can tell her how much I deserve the ring. So now she's tricking him. She's saying, "Oh, that is a very common excuse. Usually, if men don't want to give up something, what do they do? They say, okay, this is not this is not ours, and we cannot give it to you. Somebody has given it to us. Maybe our most beloved person has given us this thing as a present, and we cannot definitely give you. And this is very common. You just don't want to give me this thing, right? Otherwise, if you tell your wife that you have given it to me, that I'm a male lawyer definitely, and you are giving it to me, and on the issue that I have helped you so gratefully, then your wife will not be angry. She will actually understand that I deserved it. I can ask you for anything because definitely I have saved your friend's life. So she's just telling him, making him persuading him. Actually, she's actually persuading him, telling him good reasons, that okay, you can tell your wife anything of those things and she will not be angry with you for long. I mean, these are so simple things. Portia and Narissa, still dressed as a lawyer and a clerk, turned to go. Now, what happens? Okay, fine. When they realize that, okay, this person is not giving me the ring, so she just turns away. That, okay, fine, you just don't want to give it, then okay, I'm leaving. And she turns, and she and Narissa, who is still dressed as a clerk to the lawyer, they turn to leave. Almost immediately, Antonio persuaded Bassanio to give up the ring. Bassanio felt ashamed to seem ungrateful, so he gave it to Portia. Nerissa also cleverly managed to persuade Gratiano to give her the ring that she had given to him. He too had promised never to give it away. So basically, now when these women are all set to go, but Antonio forces Bassanio in a nice way that okay, give it Bassanio just give it to her, and Bassanio has no other way out, and he finally hands over the ring to the young male lawyer who was actually Portia, and then at the same time, Nerissa, who is Portia's maid, she also because she has also given a ring to Gratiano, who's Bassanio's friend. So finally, she also manages to take her ring from Gratiano, and both these women take the ring and they leave. And definitely, they have it in their hearts. They're definitely enjoying the situation. That it's funny that they have persuaded, they have on their insisting, finally taken the rings from their husbands, back the rings, and the husbands are actually ashamed because they promised their wives never to give away the rings. They told them, okay, we will always keep it safe and we'll always keep it with us. But unfortunately, because the situation was such that they cannot say no, because they were very much grateful to the lawyer for saving Antonio's life, that they gave up the rings, and they were ashamed at both the ends. They were ashamed to their wives that okay, we have given up the ring. That they were ashamed because they were actually the thing that the lawyer and the clerk asked for, they were not actually willing to give it. They had to give it very unwillingly, that we don't want to give it, but because we are grateful, so we have to give the thing. Okay, so let's move on. Portia and Nerissa left Venice and went as quickly as possible to Belmont. Now, so you remember Portia and Nerissa, they lived in Belmont. They were not the citizens of Venice. Okay, so what did they do? They left as quickly as possible for their home. And why did they leave as quickly as possible? Because definitely they were in disguise and they don't want people to know. They wanted to get there before their husbands returned. When they got back to Portia's house, they changed their clothes at once. Soon they were sitting down, dressed in their ordinary clothes, waiting for their husbands to come back to them. Not long after, the two men arrived with Antonio. Bassanio introduced Antonio to his wife. This is the friend, he told her, who has helped me so much. So Portia welcomed Antonio to her house. Now, for Bassanio, basically, he believes that Portia has never met Antonio before. It is the first time they are meeting. Because definitely, he does not know that the lawyer was in disguise Portia. So he is now introducing him, Antonio, to Portia. That okay, this is my dear friend. This is the person who has always helped me whenever I'm in need, and he is the person who was in trouble because of me, and he was about to leave leave his life because of me, about to die because of me. So he introduces Portia to Antonio, and Portia welcomes Antonio to her house. And for Pisanio, Gratiano, and Antonio, the situation is very simple. That both these women are here. They have been in Belmont all this time when the trial was being conducted in Venice, and they have no clue that basically these women were actually the two lawyers who just came in disguise, a lawyer and the clerk who came in disguise. And the situation is very simple and very clear to them that oh, they're coming back to their wives, but now they don't know what the wives has actually done behind. While she was doing this, she saw Gratiano and Nerissa quarreling in a corner of the room. What is happening? Cried Portia. Are you quarreling already? What is the matter? So basically, now what happens when all this is happening, that Brisanio is introducing Antonio to Portia. Portia notices that Narissa and Gratiano are quarreling. They are fighting. What is the meaning of quarrel? Fight. So she says, why are you fighting already? I mean, we just got married a little time back and you guys have started fighting so quickly. I mean, what is the reason? What's the matter? What's going on here? We are arguing about the ring which Narissa gave me, Gratiano explained. The ring had these words written on it: love me and never leave me. So basically, now the first person to bring up the quarrel or to bring up the argument was Narissa. She asked Gratiano about the ring, and definitely he has given it to the clerk of the lawyer and he doesn't have it anymore. And so, what happens that he says that see, we are arguing, we are actually having a heated argument, exchange of words about the ring which she gave me, and actually it was written on it that love me and never leave me, but I had to give away the ring. I had no other option. I am annoyed because Gratiano promised me faithfully that he would keep it, Nerissa said. and now he has given it away to the lawyer's clerk. It does not matter whether it was a valuable ring or not. He should not have given it away. So now Nerissa is explaining it to Portia that, see, I gave this man the first present from me. It was not a valuable thing, maybe. It was not something of a very precious or very expensive, but still, it was the first present I ever gave him. And now he has just given it away. And and not only he has given it away, he has given it away to the lawyer's clerk. And I don't think he should have ever given it away because I am upset about it. Annoyed as to be upset about something. So she is explaining the situation, and definitely then now she's trying to show it that Gratiano is not faithful to me because in the first attempt he gave away my present. So how can he do this to me? And basically, remember, children, that in their hearts, Portia and Nerissa, they're only playing a trick. They're only pretending. All of this is just they are only pretending all of this. Okay, nothing is for true. Okay. Now we are at the last chapter of this lesson, and everything is put right again. So basically, let's see if the this lesson has a happy ending, or again there's a tragedy or something around. And I hope everything is going to go good. Portia was now determined to enjoy the trick she had played on her husband. Of course, Gratiano was wrong to give away his wife's first present. I, too, gave my husband a ring and made him promise to keep it. If he gave that ring away, I would be very angry with him indeed. So now, what is she saying? That this is very bad of you, Gratiano. I mean, how can you give away your wife's first present to somebody else? And now let me check on my husband. I gave him a ring too, and I also made him promise. Now she's saying it to you both of them that, oh, let me check on my husband. I also gave him a ring, and he also promised me never to give it away. And if he has actually given it to somebody else or something like this, then I'll be very angry with him. I will be very upset with him for this thing, that he cannot do this actually. He shouldn't have done this because it was my first present to him. Okay, so let's move on. Then Gratiano replied, but Bassanio did give his ring away. He gave it to the young lawyer who asked for it. And then the boy, his clerk, asked me for my ring. So before Portia could go to Bassanio and ask the quarrel or ask about the ring, Gratiano, he just steps forward and says, oh, he has also given away the ring. And not only he was the first person to give away the ring. And when he gave away his ring to the lawyer, then I was also forced to give my ring to this clerk. And he was the, I mean, like, he's not trying to just put it like this, that okay, you are so being so what should I say, you are being so anxious about it to know that whether your husband has given away the ring or not. And actually your husband has given away the ring, and he has actually given it before me. When she heard this, Portia pretended to be very angry. She asked Bassanio, which ring did you give him? I hope it was not the ring that you accepted from me. So basically, now see, in this paragraph, the word pretended is very important because actually Portia is only pretending. Pretend is to act, to show that it is something like this, and actually it is not like that. Pretend is to act, to do a drama kind of a thing, okay? She's only just doing it like a drama. That, okay, which ring did you give Bassanio? Did you know? I hope it was not the one that I gave you. Maybe it was some other ring that you gave to that lawyer, and I hope you have not given my ring. Okay, Abdul Rahman, I'll try to speak louder. You cannot still not hear me. Okay, let me try to be a little louder. Okay. So, but Portia still pretended. Okay, Bassanio felt very unhappy when he saw how angry his wife was. But he had to admit the truth and tell her that he had given the ring away. I wish you knew how unwilling I was to give the ring to this man and why I gave it to him. So now Bassanio actually admits he's a true person, he's an honest person. He says that, okay, I have given away the ring, and I have to admit the truth that I did not want to give it. I was very much unwilling to give the ring. I tried all my, reasons. I gave all the reasons that, okay, don't take it. Don't. This is from my wife. I give all the excuses. to the lawyer, but because he was insisting on taking the ring and because I had no other option, I was so much grateful to the lawyer, and that was the only thing he asked for. He was not taking the money or anything from Antonio. And because it was not possible for me to say no to the person who has actually helped me save my friend's life. So, if you can understand the situation, Portia, that why I gave it to him, you will be calm, you will be fine with it. But I have to admit, I have to confess, Sanyo said, that yes, I have given away the ring. Although unwillingly, but yes, I don't have it, I have given it away. But Portia still pretended to be angry. She accused him of giving the ring to a woman. Accuse is to tell somebody that you have done something wrong. Accuse is to make somebody feel guilty about something. Okay. So she says, okay, no, she just still pretended that no, you have given it to a woman probably. Why would the young lawyer take it from you? He was a man. Definitely you have given it to a lady. You have given it to somebody else. Now she is actually playing a trick on him. Bassanio thought Portia must think he was very unkind. Now, Bassanio is again and again feeling guilty, and he's feeling bad about himself that, oh, I mean, why did I give away the ring? But definitely he knew in his heart that he had no other option. He had to give it away. He told her he had given the lawyer the ring because he was so grateful to him for saving Antonio's life. If you had been there, he said, I think you would have told me to give him the ring. Now he tells Portia, see, if you have been there in my situation and if you were with me even, then in front of you, even if the lawyer had asked me for the ring, you would have been told me that, okay, give him the ring, because definitely a thing, piece of metal does not mean more than the life of a person, and my friend's life was actually saved by this person. So I cannot actually do this, that I can uh, say no to him for saving my friend's life. And definitely I had to thank him, and because he was asking, I had to give it. So he's actually making this whole picture look more clear to Portia, so that she accepts it, that okay, fine, what Bassanio did was unwilling but was right. He did it right. He was not wrong. He was not being unfaithful. He had no other affairs with other women. He was only being nice to the lawyer. Then Antonio turned to Portia and said, these unhappy quarrels have all been caused by me. Quarrels are fights, okay? So basically, now Antonio is saying, oh, all of this is actually because of me. Now, Antonio is such a nice, kind, and generous person that he's accepting all the blame on his head. Although, if we go back into the past of this lesson, or if we look at this lesson, the whole story is because of Pisanio and his reason to give expensive gifts. If he had not insisted on buying expensive gifts and he had not forced Antonio to give him money, or to take a loan from Shylock, then this whole case and trial would not have been there. But Antonio is a nice man, and he's saying, no, all of this is happening because of me. So, do not treat this matter so seriously, replied Portia. She took the ring from her bag and said, give him this ring and tell him to keep it better. Then he kept the last one. So basically, now Portia is saying, okay, now this whole situation is actually going into the wrong direction, and now also Antonio is feeling ashamed and guilty. And definitely, she was only trying to joke. She does not want anybody to feel bad or to feel guilty or to feel unkind about himself. So she says, okay, she just ends up the whole thing here, and she says, okay, fine, do not take it so seriously. Just give him this. She takes the ring out of her bag and she gives it to Antonio and asks him to give it to Bassanio and tell him to keep it safely this time and not to give it to anybody else now again. Antonio passed the ring to Bassanio, who looked at it. He was surprised to see that it was the one he had given away. Portia then showed her husband the letter from Dr. Bellario, and so he discovered that the clever lawyer was really Portia, his wife. Bassanio realized that his own wife's courage and cleverness had saved the life of his dear friend Antonio. He was surprised and delighted. So now this is actually the final ending towards the end of the story, that finally, when he looks at the ring, Bassanio, he sees that, oh, there's the same ring that I gave to the lawyer. And then the second question that arises in his mind is that how does Portia have this ring? And then Portia shows him the letter from Dr. Bellario, which said that how can he save the life of Antonio? How can she, uh, help Antonio in the case? Okay. And so finally, Bassanio learns the truth. He now actually sees the whole picture clearly. He can now see that okay, the young, the witty, the clever male lawyer was actually nobody else other than his wife Portia, and he was actually very much surprised and delighted. He was surprised because he could not have guessed, he could not have assumed that his own wife Portia was not only beautiful and charming, but also so clever, so witty, so smart, so intelligent that she took up this brave step that she took advice from a lawyer. She disguised as a lawyer, and then she came forward, and she saved Antonio's life so cleverly. And then not only she took the saved Antonio's life, but also taught Shylock a lesson to call his money from him. And finally his disinherited daughter was also helped. So definitely it was very much cleverness all together. And definitely Bassanio was actually delighted. Why was he delighted? Delighted is to be very happy. He was very happy because he had a wonderful wife. He had a wife who had all the beauty and all the wit, all the cleverness. So definitely any man would be happy to have such a wife who is clever and intelligent, who's a beauty with brains basically. So he was very much happy about it. Soon afterwards, Antonio received good news about his own affairs. Portia handed him some letters which had just arrived. These told Antonio that the ships which he thought were lost and had returned to Venice and had brought back their valuable cargoes. Antonio was a wealthy man again. So basically, now this is another good part of the story in the end, a happy ending thing that previously Antonio thought that his ships were lost and his ships had been wrecked. Now, why did he think this? Because definitely his ships were delayed. They did not reach the port on time. And in those days, there was no good means of communication as such that they could call or they could, ask people. It says stories long, long time ago. So in those days, the means of communication were not that smart. And definitely Antonio could not figure out where his ships were. And because they were delayed, he thought that his ships had drowned, his ships had been wrecked and all his cargoes had been lost and he was poor. See, he was a merchant by nature. What do the merchant or the businessmen, these people do? They invest all their money in the trade when they are buying goods. And when the goods come, then when they receive it, they take all the profits from it. This is a very common practice among from merchants. So this is what he had done also. And now, again, when all his ships came back, they were actually not lost or not wrecked, but they were it is just like that they were somewhere delayed. Maybe there was a storm and the ships had to wait for some time in the sea, or maybe due to any other reason the ships were delayed on coming back to port. And now all his ships were back and all his valuable cargoes were there, and he was again a wealthy man. Again, he was a very rich man again. So, thus, the story of the merchant of Venice ended with good news for the merchant. What was the good news for the merchant? And who's the merchant again? Antonio. Okay. The good news was this that Antonio's ships had returned and he was a wealthy man again. And with laughter between the husbands and wives over the joke about the rings. So basically, husbands and wives they just enjoyed the joke about the rings. Definitely afterwards, Gratiano and Nerissa must have also learned it that this was all just a trick played by the wives, and they enjoyed the story and they just enjoyed the whole plot. So students, is there any question, any query that you people have today? We have completed this chapter finally. It was a very long lesson indeed, I believe, because it took a long time. And if there is anything, any part of the lesson that is not clear to you, please ask me right now. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions, because definitely next time we will be beginning with another lessons or other things. So if there is still anything, any question, any words meaning that's not clear, please ask me right now, because I'll be more than happy to answer it. And definitely I hope you have prepared very well. And today, because we have done this chapter again, so I think taking the class test would be much easier now. So no questions, everything clear? Okay, so if I ask you a little bit about the character of the people, what kind of a man do you think was Shylock, first of all, the villain of the story? What do you think about Shylock? Shylock was a villain of the story, right? He was a miser. Miser is a person who does not spend money on things. He was a miser, he was a greedy fellow, he was a Jew by nature, by religion, sorry. And what else do you know about him? And he was a well-known money lender of Venice, but he used to take interest from people. Okay, he was a greedy man. Yes, Fatima, you are right. He was a very greedy man. Okay, so let me ask you people some questions. Let's have a little bit of a question answer session here. Let's begin with Zoha. Zoha, are you there? Can you answer the first point here? Mercy rewards not only the man who receives it. Can you tell me which answer from A, B, C, D, or E will go with this? What will be the second part? What will be the ending of this? Yes, Zoha, can you answer my question? Zoha, can you answer my question, dear? Are you there? Mercy rewards not only the man who receives it. Okay. Sania Javed, can you answer my question, Sania? Mercy rewards not only the man who receives it. Nobody knows the answer? Okay, Abdullah Ansari has given me the answer. And who else has given me the answer here? Bisma, okay. So Bisma has given me the answer and Abdullah Ansari has given me the answer. You are right. It is E. It's going to go with E. And it is that, but also the man who receives it, okay? But also the man who receives it. So number one will go with E. The answer to number one is E. Okay, you can only write A, B, C, D, and E. There is no need to write the whole sentence, children. Okay, so the second one, who will answer it? If we do not insist that the man obeys the law now, other people, who will answer that question? Can I have the answer from Rumesa? Rumesa, can you answer me? Yes, Rumesa, can you answer me? Abdul Rahman says 2 is C. Okay, Abdul Rahman thinks 2 is C. Okay, fine. That is right. 2 is C. You are right here. May follow bad example. Now move to number 3. The words of this agreement say clearly that Shylock. What is the answer to number 3? Yes. Sania Javed, it is C. Yes. Okay, you are here. You answered me. Thank you. Okay, Emily Rao, can you answer my question, please? The third one. The words of this agreement say clearly that Shylock. Yes, can you answer my question? Okay. The words of the agreement clearly say that Shylock may take a pound of flesh. Yes, it's B. You are right. Okay, let's move to number 4. But if he spills a single drop of blood, then all his money, what's going to be the answer? All his money must be given to the state. Right. Basically, see, 4 and 5 are a bit tricky. You have to make sure with 4 and 5, you should read the exact lines from the lesson because they are very much similar to each other. Okay. The fifth one is if anyone plans to kill a citizen of Venice, half his property. Yes, what about it? Half his property. Manahil, can you answer? Manahil? Number 5. If anyone plans to kill a citizen of Venice, half his property must be given to that citizen. Exactly, Manahil. You are right. Good. Okay, so let's have the answers. Okay, so the first one is E. The second one is C. The third one is B. The fourth one is A. And the fifth one is D. Okay, students, is it clear to all of you? You all have the answers. Match your answers. This exercise is actually at the back of the book on page number 85. It's mentioned at the top. You can do this exercise at the back of your book. And there is one more exercise, exercise B. Try it also, okay? Try exercise B also on page number 85 and it goes up to page number 86. Try that exercise also from behind the book. Okay. I'm giving you some time. You can mark the answers as quickly as possible. Okay. You can take your time of 1 minute. I hope you all have done the answers in the book. And now make sure you do a good class test. Make sure you follow the instructions. First of all, please read the instructions. Okay. Follow the instructions that are given at the top every time you are attempting a class test or you are attempting a quiz. Follow the instructions. Make sure you answer all the questions in small letters, and also make sure that you are actually giving me only precise answers. Do not write all the sentences, and make sure you do the punctuations. Okay, do not go without the punctuations. Don't put full stops, because if it's a blank or something, don't put the full stop, and be very careful with your spellings. Okay, that clear? Okay, students, take care of yourselves, and I hope the lesson was very well understood. Any questions, any queries, you can always ask me in the chat box, okay? Or you can always ask me in the Google Classroom. I'll be more than happy to answer it. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz, everyone.